So we had a lot of interest, just nothing that was working for us because we wanted to sell, right? We didn't have to sell.
Welcome to the Insurance Refocused podcast, where we're highlighting real agent stories and how they are innovating to respond to the changes and challenges happening in the independent insurance industry. My name's Lindsay, and I can't wait to introduce you to my amazing co-host, who just so happens to be my mom, Carey Wallace. Mom, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Lindsay. I am happy to be back at it. How are you doing?
Doing good. I just finished a workout that straight up kicked my butt. Peeled myself off the couch once I got home and somehow look presentable enough to be on this call. So thankful for the day, that's for sure.
Me too. Well, I cannot be more excited that we get to start our day with one of the best people I met in 2023. In fact, I think we should do that. I think we should do a recap of 2023 and actually highlight all the best people that have entered our life. Don't you think that would be a great thing to do? Anyway, yeah. So today we get to start our day with Christos. And Christos, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I am so excited to have you on and to talk about lots of things. But you and I met, you were presenting at a mastermind and you were talking about customer experience. Is that fair?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then I've gotten the pleasure of hearing you speak 3 times in 1 year, which is kind of crazy. But you and I were kind of like following each other around the country, and we were finding ourselves in the same places. But I was just sharing with a couple of people, including Lindsay, that one of the most impactful things that I got to see was not only you speaking, but having your mother watch you speak about your talk and sharing so many stories about your life, and her reaction to seeing you on stage was one of the most moving things I've ever seen. So I'm so thrilled today to talk to you about something personal with your family as well. But anyway, I just want you to know that. I know that it moved every single person in that room. There wasn't a dry eye. Her eyes were certainly not dry. And I have no idea how you kept it together on stage. So hats off to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. So while we're not going to talk about customer experience specifically today, I'd love to talk to you about something that you share in your speech, which is your family business. So many of our listeners either have bought businesses or are getting ready to sell their family business. About 70% of independent insurance agents, it's a family affair. It is multi-generational. And you all ran Pleasant Pizza in Connecticut for I don't know how many years, but give us the story. I would love for you to walk us through the sale of your family business, if you don't mind. So start off with when did you guys have this pizzeria? Who all was involved, and what did that look like?
So we opened it May 26th, 1994. And I remember being taken out of high school for a week so we can open up our pizzeria. It was my mom, my dad, and myself. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited to be taken out of school to be in the restaurant. And after a week in there, I was like, put me back in school. I'm like, I have a different appreciation for it. I'm okay. I was like, I really want to learn now. So we did that. We opened it. And my family always wanted to be in the restaurant business. And we had a pizzeria before that. We purchased one. My mom and dad purchased one in 1991. And it was their first venture in the restaurant business. And there was a lot of things we didn't know. And unfortunately, we had to close it. But we opened this up, and in a really small little location. We were probably, at the time, maybe 750 square feet, and just takeout and delivery. And it just went really well. Obviously, we had some ups and downs. 2008, I remember, was tough. We every day, and just during that time, I happened to move to Florida. And my parents told me later on how, every day they looked at each other going, I don't know how we're going to do this. Cause, I think when the stock market just dropped drastically and people's retirements just dwindled away, are they going to be spending money on pizza? They're going to spend it on getting the most bang for their buck at the supermarket. And so hearing those stories were great. My brothers and I grew up through the business. All of us worked there at some point or another. And then all of us moved to Florida. And then at one point, my parents were ready to sell in about 2016 or so. And my youngest brother, Dimitri, told them, you know what? I want to run our restaurant. I want to get the experience. I wanted that. He moved back. And in late 2015, 2016, he took over our restaurant. And he himself, along with my mom and our management team, doubled our business in about, I'm going to say probably 18 months or so. And then I moved back and I asked him, I said, listen, I moved back to get married. And I asked him, I was like, is there an opportunity for me? Is there a place for me there? And he said, yeah, there definitely, we can do something. So I handled certain responsibilities. He handled most of the responsibilities. He ran our operation. I was his, as much as we were partners in our family business, but he was in charge. He ran everything. And I just was lucky to be there. And, about maybe 18 months ago or so, we decided to put the restaurant up for sale. Our dad passed away a couple years ago. Life changed. So we decided to do that. And it was a longer process than we anticipated, at least in our industry. I don't know how it is in insurance, but we don't tell publicly when we're selling, right? We hire a business broker and they advertise it in certain sites without names. As soon as someone's interested, they send them, an NDA, and then they go from there. And we had a lot of interest. We definitely had a lot of interest, but some people were offering, 20, 30 cents on the dollar. We weren't interested. Some people weren't able to get financing. Other people were offering us close to what we wanted, but on terms that didn't make sense for us. So we had a lot of interest, just nothing that was working for us because we wanted to sell, right? We didn't have to sell.
Right,
But
right.
as time goes on, you start to go, oh man, maybe I should have taken that offer. Maybe we should have taken those terms. But, we don't want to be in, we thought about, uh, holding a note and we have no problem possibly of doing that, but we'd like to be in first position. We wouldn't want to be in second position. And then at one point, we made the decision to just announce it. And in our industry, you just don't see that because it possibly could affect the business. And so we took a chance, but at one point we're like, we have to. And so we put it out there just on our social media pages. And what we thought would happen in some aspect did, but it didn't affect the business, which was good. But people were like, oh, hey, we heard you're closing. So, and people hear and read what they want to. And we're like, no, we're not closing. We're just selling. It's our time. And we're lucky, a really nice family, a couple towns over from us, decided to purchase it from us. And it was great. And yesterday was 3 weeks since we sold.
Oh, wow. This is recent.
Yes, yesterday was 3 weeks that we sold.
Okay, I didn't realize that. We our like neighborhood pizza place when I was in high school, we used to go there like every single Friday, Mom, the Big Cheese. And the guy who owned it was just like this grumpy old guy. He always had like a cut off t-shirt, and like that was part of the experience. Like you went there and like he was super grumpy to me, and like I was a super sassy kid, so like I loved it, right? Because I could be like mean to this person and it was like accepted and it was great. um And I
Kind of
remember
remind you
the
of the
first
soup
time
Nazi. Yeah, he was kind of like the
yeah,
soup Nazi, but he
exactly.
was like, yeah, it was terrible. Like from Seinfeld. Seriously, we had our own little version of the soup Nazi,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah.
He was hilarious. But he always remembered our family because my mom really liked the salad that they had. And like, I guess not most salads have radishes, and she like loved the radishes. So we would always order extra radishes on the salad for her. And so he always knew it was us, because who in the world like orders extra radishes? Whatever. But I remember the first time I went in there, they had sold and they didn't make an announcement that they sold. And I was like, whoa, where's where's the soup Nazi? Like, where's my daily sass? Like that I can like we banter back and forth. Like, what's happening right now? Um, and it definitely was a change, like for the customer experience, to be the customer in the situation and have the ownership change and the whole feel. So how did you guys, I know you said that you announced that you were changing. What was that process like?
Well, when we announced that it was for sale, we got a lot of a lot of different, oh no, thank you for everything, this and that. Then people were saying all these different, oh, what we hear you're closing and all these things. And then when we announced that we actually sold, it was really nice. It was, our community it was beautiful. It was really nice to read all the messages, thank you for everything you did. Thanks for donating to this cause for us. Thanks for this. You all were great. And it was really nice. And I feel like the community welcomed uh, the new family there with open arms. And we explained to the people that purchased that we're a community-centric restaurant. And we explained to them how we did things. And we're like, try to follow this type of, process that we did. We hope you do even better than we do. There's, we don't know everything. I can tell you, we almost had it for 30 years, and you'd think you'd know about that industry pretty well. And, 2 years ago, we just discovered, we're like, we didn't know that you could do this. And oh my goodness. And we're like, what are we doing? So it makes us go, there's so much to learn in life, one thing, but even in your own industry, you're in it for so long. And then you discover these things. And we're like, so we feel like we left them a really great business, a pretty much turnkey place, and we left as much instruction and direction as possible. And we were there for 3 weeks with them per our contract. We needed to be there for 3 weeks, and the 3 weeks ended yesterday.
Yeah, it was a pretty monumental thing getting to talk to your mom the last day. Like she sounded super excited and all those things. But I will tell you, Christos, like I've never been in Pleasant Pizza. I've never visited Pleasant Pizza, but I've listened to you talk about what Pleasant Pizza did when someone in the community passed away, or someone in the community had a child, or someone in the community needed you found a way to connect at the times when people might need your support, and then what that community did when your father passed away. So I know this business meant a ton to you all. The response from your community was equal to what Pleasant Pizza did when they had major things happening. So Lindsay, you haven't heard him speak. They would show up and ask how many people need to be fed if someone was passing away, and meet them in the driveway with plenty of food and pizzas to feed the crowd that they had, either if it was a funeral, if it was the birth of a child, if it was a major monumental thing. And so I know it meant a lot to you all. It's not just a family business. It was a way to connect with your community, and your community responded beautifully. It's not shocking to me at all that when you sold, you got a ton of messages like that. The reason I share that is even when I saw the note that you guys had sold your pizzeria, I had a little bit of, like, really? You know what I mean? Like, I can imagine what that feels like. There's this whole range of emotions that you go through when a part of what you've built is being sold. And it is excitement for what's ahead. And it's also, wow, this is tough to walk away from. So tell me how each of the members of your family handled that. Like, I don't know if that's the same for everyone.
I can't speak for my mom and my youngest brother, but I can tell you for me, um, so obviously, we wanted to sell. We're exciting. December 21st, we sold, and our attorney said, "Hey, listen, the sale is not technically done until the wire hits his account, our attorney's account. And when that happens, that's when it's theirs." And we didn't want to interrupt the business at all. The last 10 days of the year are typically busy. There's holiday parties going on. People are spending, or they're not thinking. They're like, let's just, they're in just a great mood. So we ended up, splitting that day. The wire hit somewhere around 5:05, 5:06 in the evening. And when I got the call, that's when it hit me. And, I went and I told my mom, like, hey, it's over. And then we both broke down. I let it, for sure. I try to be like the strong person in the family, and then I'm just like, I think I break down the most, but it is what it is. And for definitely for 10 minutes or so, we teared up, we cried, we hugged each other, and then we're like, but this is what we wanted, right? So, and then the next day we're like, yay, this is great and stuff like that. But that moment was, and for at least my mom and I, at least, it was, we still had, a lot of training to do. So I know it didn't hit us, because there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot to train. So, but we know there was one, weight lifted off our shoulders, something that we wanted to do. And, my mom and my brother are, moving, to Florida in a couple weeks. So that's really, really exciting.
Yeah. It's awesome. So you said a couple of things that I do want to correlate to our industry or the insurance industry. So you said, when you first started, it's not like you announce you're going to sell. Well, let me just tell you, that is very, very true in the insurance industry. The last thing you want is for people to think that you're selling, because same exact reason. You don't want your customers to get nervous and say, oh, they might not be there, therefore I might change where I'm going to place my business. You don't want your carriers to get nervous and say, okay, something's happening here. Maybe they don't need our contract anymore, especially in the middle of a hard market. So it is not a thing that you walk around with a billboard saying, hey, I'm open and I'm ready to take offers to sell. It is it's meant to be kept very, very quiet, to the point where, Christos, when I started doing valuations, and I'd want to, travel around and take pictures with my customers and post it on social media and be excited that I got to sit in someone's office and work with them. And I had a couple agents say, don't ever post a picture that you've been in my office, because if people know I'm getting a valuation, they'll think I'm selling. And I do not want you to do that. I became almost like the Black Widow, that people were like, that I don't want to be seen with Carey Wallace. Isn't that kind of funny? So that's exactly the case. They want to keep it quiet for the exact same reason. You do not want it to trigger a response that would hurt the business at all. So it's 100% the same thing. The difference is there's probably 15 to 20 buyers for every seller, if not more. So it is, there's an absolutely more buyers than sellers in our industry. So once that starts, you'll have many, many people that are interested in buying your agency, as long as it's well run. So, then the question becomes, who's the right buyer? How do you decide which one is the right buyer? You all had a lot of different interests. What did that process look like, picking the right one? Did everybody, your mom, you, and your brother, all have the same ideas about who the right buyer is? How did you set those priorities?
Well, that's a tough question, because at the end of the day, we really wanted a nice family to be able to take over, to keep everything the same. I mean, the whole point of, at least in our industry, if you're going to be purchasing our restaurant. You're purchasing our goodwill of our customers, and our recipes are everything. You would hope to keep it the same way. Otherwise, you should probably go out and just open up your own. Now, we looked at different people, and we would be like, well, I think this person would be great. And, we've had, talks and, at our house, be like, I don't know if this person would do well with it. But at the end of the day, like, we have to think, okay, is that our decision? Are we the right people to judge that? How do we know that? I don't know. Like, we could, I've been wrong on things. I don't know. We've been wrong on things. So we would try to make the best, guess after looking at all these different people that we're interested in. But as time went on, you start to go, we hope you're the right person. And if you're able to come up with, what we were asking for, we would explain beforehand how it is. But we didn't spend as much time really getting into the nitty gritty if we would feel like they were the best fit, because I don't know if we get to decide that. We would just say, hey, listen, we really try to treat everyone that works for us, because at the end of the day, our number one customer is our employee. We really try to treat them with love and respect. We always try to give the benefit of the doubt. And we always try to do well for them and be their support system. And if they want to go on to bigger and better things, there's people that have left us and done bigger things, and we've, supported them, and we've loved them. Just give us a couple weeks notice is the only thing. And then after that, if things don't work out, the door's always open to come back, and so my long-winded answer to your question, we would do the best we can to make sure they were a right fit and explain to both our employees and the people coming in how it is here. We really try to have a great atmosphere. That's, we've had some great ideas from employees, right? Just because we own the place, that doesn't mean we know everything, and we've had some employees be like, oh, why don't you do this? Check this out. Why don't you try this? And we're like, that's great. So we wanted to make sure we had a really great environment and be like, please let us know what you think on things. So, yeah. So that's my answer.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me what, I know how you told the world because I saw the posts. Like I was with the rest of the world learning about Pleasant Pizza's sale, but how did you tell your staff? Because oftentimes it's so very personal. Independent insurance agents, the people are their biggest asset. It is the heart and soul of who they are. So what their staff does can actually impact the value of their agency pretty significantly. It's no different in a restaurant, I would say, right? So tell me what that process looked like. When did your staff know that this was happening, and how did that conversation go?
We have an internal group message that we have with all of our employees, and we, the day before we made it public, we thought about, how do we do this? How do we tell everyone in a way that doesn't alarm them that they have to leave, that alarm them that something's going on? So we just thought of the right words to write, and we, while we were at work, we sent the message out and said, hey, everybody, we just want to let you know, tomorrow we're going to post on our social media that we are putting our restaurant for sale. So if you have any questions on this, please let us know. We've been here, going on at that time was 28 and a half years. So we're like, it's time for a change. This is the reason that we're doing it. There's no other reason. And, people came up to us. Some people were really sad. Some people didn't express. Some people were really happy for us. Other people were like, they asked questions. Do I need to go somewhere else? Do I need? We're like, no, the opposite. What, like you said, Carey, we need you to stay here. Without you, we don't. There's only so much I can do with my brother and my mom, right? Like, so we need all these employees to be able to do everything they do to run our operation. So, we sent a nice message out while we're at work, and we let everyone know. Some people shared their concerns, it was a nice conversation. But most of the part, everyone was happy for us.
So, what is next? So, you are doing speaking. What's next for kind of everybody in the story?
So my mom is going to be, fully retired. She's going to be down in Florida. She's going to be probably spending about most likely a third of the year in Greece. We have a beautiful house in Thessaloniki, Greece. So she'll probably be there from like June to September every year, is what her probably June to probably October, and then come back and either stay at her house or hopefully come and visit me up here in Connecticut for a couple months and, pop around to all of my brothers. But she's going to be staying right now with her twin brother who lives down there. So he has a beautiful big house and they have an amazing relationship. So that's where she's going to be spending at least until she goes to Greece this year. My youngest brother, who ran our restaurant, is going to be doing something in the restaurant industry. Exactly what? He's not too sure. He's just figuring it out right now, but he's taking a little bit of a breather after we sold because it's a lot. It's really a lot running an operation, and uh, we learned how much it is after we were explaining it to our the new family. We're like, there's a lot, huh? And I think growing up in it, we just don't realize that it's a lot because we just learned new things all the time growing up in it. So we just knew it. But then we're explaining it. It was like, oh, wow, we kind of know a couple things about this industry. So, and for me, I'm going to continue speaking. I speak on customer experience and communication. My main keynote that I have is called "What Do You Sell?" And it's understanding what your company really sells opposed to what you think you sell. Most companies end up selling some type of emotion through their product or service. They don't necessarily sell the product or service. And, it's a really deep keynote. And I'm in the spring, late spring, I'm coming out with a workshop on how to read, communicate, and understand people. A lot of my training and a lot of the education that I take is on communication, is on people in general. I love the study of people, and I love how to be able to learn how to communicate better, how to get your point across, how to be a better listener, how to do all these things. So a lot of the education that I take has to do with that. So I can't wait to launch that. Well, I've thought about it. I thought about putting my keynote almost and making it a little bit bigger and putting it in a book format. And so I've definitely thought of that as well.
That'd be fun. That'd be cool.
Well, I have to say, if anyone's listening and you have not heard Christos speak, find a place where he's speaking or ask someone to have him come and speak for you, because it's one of the most moving and impactful speeches that I've ever heard. As someone who does not view myself as selling anything, it made me think differently about how I connect with the people that are my customers, and define what do I sell, because the reality is everyone sells something, and it's not a product or service. It is a feeling or an emotion, no question about it. And I highly recommend engaging in it. We recently put on a workshop for my key customers and partners, and I'll tell you, the feedback was amazing. But the biggest one was someone had Christos speaks on a stage to hundreds of people, sometimes to small groups, to large groups, to whatever. But the point he made an impact in someone's largest customer. She went and had to deliver a message to them, and their response was, can you come every month and talk to our staff? Because that was one of the best things. And she used the things that Christos shared in our workshop. So I love, love, love the impact you have on people when you share your story. And I know that this story will mean a lot to people who are thinking about selling their family business and just the whole process you go through. So I appreciate you sharing. And I also very much appreciate your friendship, Christos.
Oh, thank you. So nice to have met you last year at Chris Paradiso's mastermind.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a good day for me. So if someone wants to reach you, Christos, tell them how they get in touch with you.
There's no way to reach me. I'm very secretive. You can't find me anywhere. And I don't want to be reached, so nobody could call me.
Me neither, Christos.
It's a secret, and you have to find out from someone else. And
secret handshake, whatever.
Handshake.
Yeah.
And if you're able to get the secret handshake, then you get my phone number, and then you can call me. So my website is christosspeaks.com. It's just ChristosSpeaks.com. And my phone number is 860-428-9314. Just give me a call. Let's see if I'm a right fit for your company. And let's make some things happen.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today, Christos.
Oh, this was so great. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Insurance Refocused podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to hit subscribe and leave us a review so you'll never miss us. Want to learn more about how Agency Focus can help you grow your agency? Head to agency-focus.com or email Carey directly at carey@agency-focus.com. If you need to get in touch with me, feel free to shoot me an email at lindsay@agency-focus.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.